welcome back to Questioning Sets with me, Matt. I hope you guys are well. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a more affordable fragrance today. I think recently we did a video on Gladiator Oud, which is a fantastic perfume, but it costs a fortune. So I thought we would look at, just for balance, another perfume that I own that I quite enjoy that has a much more modest price tag. And today we're going to be looking at one from the house of Afnan, and it's quite rare in the fact that it's not really a clone of anything. And the box, I don't care about boxes. If you've been a long-suffering fan of the channel, then you'll know that boxes don't really bother me. But this has got a hell of a box. The only problem is the perfume, which is a good perfume, the bottle is a joke. Look at that. I'm not a massive fan of that. So yeah, we're looking at this one today, and this is Afnan's Tribute Blue, I believe it's called. Look at the size. I mean, look, I've not got anything in my collection that looks like this. It's massive. Okay, so we'll talk about the fragrance, we'll go through the notes, we'll talk about what it's like to wear, what it's like in general, and all the rest of it. But before we go any further, we need to address a couple of issues, because this is been mistakenly sort of labelled as a clone of Ganymede. It's not, okay? It smells nothing like Ganymede, nothing at all. There is a passing resemblance to Bois Imperial, but it's not a clone of Bois Imperial. The only reason people are thinking it smells like Bois Imperial is because there's a lot of vetiver in it, and this has got that kind of green vibe. People are saying it smells like Tom Ford's grey vetiver. I don't think it does. I think, if anything, this actually smells a bit more like Tom Ford's grey vetiver, but it's a mile away from Ganymede, so please do not buy this if you think it's going to be like these two, because it's not. The only passing resemblance to Bois Imperial is the greenness, all right? But it's not a particularly green fragrance. Okay, so this is not like those two, really. The only thing I've got in my collection that it does remind me of is this one, and that is Ormond Jane's Isfarkand Elixir. They're not the same, but they kind of do a similar thing. So this is obviously hugely expensive, and this one isn't. This at the moment seems to be having a bit of popularity, so I think you're looking at around £40–50 for it for 100ml, which is good. I think this represents very good value. It is a good fragrance. It's one I enjoy. I'm wearing it now, so I'll have another little spray, shall we? And then we'll go through the notes. So yeah, everything's good. It's functional. It's just I don't like the bottle, but it's lovely. So what we'll do now is I'll read through the notes. The notes are a little bit deceiving, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't smell like it should smell on paper, and then we'll talk about performance, who can wear it, where it's suitable for, and all that kind of malarkey. So on the top, you have nutmeg, and then you have pimento seeds, then you have bergamot, you have amber in the middle with cashmere wood, and then because it's an Arabic perfume, it has to have musk in it, so it's got musk, and it's got white woods, it's got incense, and it's got vetiver. Now, why do I think it smells misleading? Well, it's spot on. You'll pick up the spices straight away. The bergamot is very, very potent within this, and it kind of comes across more lemony than bergamot. It hasn't quite got that tartness, but it has got a freshness to it, which I would personally associate more with lemon. It hasn't got the nuances that you normally get from bergamot, but it has that like citrus freshness, which is really, really nice. The amber and the cashmere wood do make an appearance, but much, much later on in the dry down. So you've kind of, it's a spicy freshie for the vast majority of it. It's only when it dries down and you'll start to pick up the incense and a little bit more. I mean, the musk is ever present. It's very typical. If you like Arabian style perfumes, you will like this, because it's not as heavy as some, but it has got that kind of Middle Eastern vibe going to it. It's like a Middle Eastern office scent in some respects, but it works. It's really nice. I actually really enjoy this one. The vetiver, although it's on the base, is present pretty much from throughout. You've got that sort of spicy opening, and then you've got the bergamot, which, as I say, is kind of doing a really good impression of lemon. And then as the warmth starts to arrive, the vetiver is more apparent. You'll notice the vetiver much more. So if you're a fan of vetiver, you will enjoy this, because it's just such an easy wearing fragrance. It is a bit peppery. There's no getting away from that. The pimento is pretty strong in it, so you've got a sort of a little bit of a spikiness in the opening, but it's not unpleasant. It's smooth. The whole composition of the fragrance is smooth. It follows itself, you know, it follows the notes pretty well. A little bit of jumping around, but ultimately it's a well-blended perfume. I don't think there's anything in here. I don't think it's too spicy, put it that way. I don't think it's going to be objectionable to anybody to wear. So in terms of how the perfume wears, it wears kind of like how you think it would, as long as you're not expecting it to be a clone, because it is an original fragrance. I don't know, the idea of the amber and the cashmere wood are quite misleading for me, because they come in very, very low into the... very, very low into the... All right, we'll try it, shall we? So the amber and the cashmere wood come in very, very low down on the list of notes. So it's really much more in the base. But everything else seems to hang on quite well. So you've got the sharpness of the citrus and the sharpness of the pepper is really, really paramount as the fragrance moves on. So in terms of performance, the fragrance is excellent. It's never overly loud. It has a presence that is noticeable. It has fairly decent projection. It has a good sillage. You leave a lovely trail behind you. But the trail seems to be more at the top. So the sillage is stronger when it's at its freshest before it becomes too... well, it never becomes too anything, to be honest. It's an easy fragrance to wear. But you'll notice that the sillage is really at its best when it's at its freshest in the top. As things start to develop, as I've said before, it becomes warmer and becomes a little less fresh, would be the best way to put it. But performance-wise, it's excellent. It really lasts a long time. It will get you through a day at work, no problem at all. It will be really, really good for both formal and casual, because it's got that freshness, it's got that spiciness that I think leans itself well to being quite a lovely fragrance. It is masculine, but the performance I think is really, really good. If you're looking to get an interesting and unique fragrance for work, but you don't want to spend too much money, you don't want to go and buy an expensive niche fragrance, this is a really good option for you, because it has got that kind of, and I hate to say it, that niche feel. So it's a long-lasting perfume and it represents good value. I don't know whether, you know, it will drop in price or not, but I think they've done a really good job with this one, Afnan. I don't know if they set out to clone. I think there's some talk that the owner of the company says this is his favourite and it's an original perfume. And I kind of agree it is original. Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of the Ormond Jane, but it's not a clone. Yeah, I can't really fault it, but it's not, I don't think it's classically unisex. I think this is much more of a masculine leaning fragrance. It does have that slight Middle Eastern vibe to it. If you like that, like me, then you'll be fine with it. The only thing I don't particularly like is the presentation, but ultimately, you know, it's a bit different, isn't it? And the box is really good. I've actually kept the box from this one. So there you go. Tribute Blue, worth £50, definitely worth £50. Performance is good, smells great, and it is quite unique. You know, for it to be confused with fragrances that are as good as Bois Imperial or Ganymede means that it's a quality fragrance, because these two are fantastic perfumes. Now I know, you know, and as I've said, it doesn't smell like these, but it doesn't. But the fact that it's even talked about in the terms of those two, you know, on a level with those two, says a lot. It doesn't have the performance of either of those, by the way, but they're beast mode. You know, this has more than adequate performance. This you will notice on your skin for 10 hours. So you can't really ask for more than that, especially for the money you're paying. So all in all, I have to say that this is a pretty damn good perfume, and one that I think is really well priced and will be an asset to anybody's collection. Just don't expect, you know, the wheel to be reinvented with this one. It is good, it's unique, and it smells really, really nice, and it's affordable. So I don't think I can say fairer than that. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. We'll be back with another video as soon as possible. Hopefully Ruby won't make an appearance in that one, but you never know. Anyway, thanks very much for your time. We'll see you on the next video. So cheers, thanks, and it doesn't feel like it's too heavily caught into the Middle East.